I joked about canceling the wedding, and my brother confessed his love to my fiancée. He left his pregnant wife and convinced the family to cut us off. I think I accidentally destroyed my family. Let me explain. At 26, I got engaged to my wonderful fiancée Olivia, who's 25. Olivia and I grew up together in the same neighborhood, went to the same kindergarten, and were practically inseparable until high school. We started dating when I was 18 and she was 17. Then we had a long-distance relationship for 4 years while we both went to college. But as soon as I graduated, I moved to her city to be with her and started my own business. I'd had enough of being apart during those long-distance years, and the timing worked out perfectly. We lived together for 1 year while she finished nursing school, and I busted my ass growing the business. It was tough, but eventually things took off, and Olivia graduated last year and started working as a pediatric nurse. By then, we'd already been living together for a year. I finally did what I'd been dreaming about my whole life. I asked her to marry me. Thankfully, she said yes. We've been engaged for almost 2 years now because we decided to save up enough money first to buy our own place before spending money on a wedding. Plus, we didn't want a big celebration anyway. Everything was just perfect. This is exactly how I imagined my future life when I was a kid. We were both earning good money and planning to get married next year and maybe even have a baby. Everything was going great. I never would have thought that some joke could destroy my life. But that's exactly what happened last week when I blurted out something stupid at a family dinner. It was supposed to be a happy evening. My parents invited Olivia and me to celebrate their anniversary. Also at the celebration were my younger sister Kate, my older brother Jake, and his wife Rachel. Jake and Rachel have been married for about 1.5 years and are expecting their first child. We were sitting at the table, enjoying food and wine, when my dad jokingly asked Olivia and me if we were ever actually going to get married or if being engaged was just our permanent status. Before anyone says he was being rude, let me clarify, my dad's kind of a joker. He's known Olivia since she was a kid and already considers her his daughter-in-law. He understood perfectly well that not getting married wasn't an option. He was just teasing us like dads do. I laughed, shrugged, and said something like, "But it's a lot of hassle. I wonder if it's even worth it. Maybe we should just cancel the whole thing and save ourselves the headache." It was a joke, a harmless joke. I love Olivia more than anything and can't wait to marry her. I was just trying to lighten the mood so everyone would laugh. I was slightly drunk and honestly didn't think my words could hurt my fiancée. Usually she takes it well and jokes along with me, but I don't know, maybe it came out harsh, and she started crying. I was horrified. I immediately apologized, said it was a joke, that I didn't mean anything by it, and that I couldn't wait to marry her. That's the honest truth. But she was really upset and ran to the bathroom. I went after her, but she wouldn't open the door. I had to go back to the table alone. Everyone was shocked. Nobody finished their dinner. My mom and sister talked to Olivia and told me she wanted to be alone and would stay with them for the night. They said I should leave and give her space. I apologized again and left, feeling terrible about what I'd said. My fiancée is the love of my life, and hurting her is the last thing I ever wanted to do. I came home and sent her a long, apologetic message for what I said, assuring her I'd never joke like that again. I was absolutely confident in our relationship, and knew that even if not right away, we'd get through this, and she'd forgive me. I went to bed hoping to talk to her in the morning. At that moment, I couldn't even imagine how it would all turn out. I went to bed very late, so I woke up late too. I wanted to check my phone to see if Olivia had written, but saw that it was off. Of course, I'd forgotten to charge it. I panicked, thinking I might have missed calls or messages, and as soon as I turned on my phone, I saw dozens of missed calls and messages not only from Olivia, but from my mom, dad, sister, and even my sister-in-law. I was scared shitless. I immediately called Olivia, but she didn't answer. So I called my mom. She picked up and practically screamed, asking, "Where the hell have you been and why couldn't anyone reach you?" I tried to explain that I'd just forgotten to charge my phone, but she told me not to waste time and get home immediately. I drove faster than ever, constantly trying to call Olivia, but she wasn't picking up. This only increased my anxiety, and I was thinking through the worst scenarios, probably the most stressful 15 minutes of my life. When I arrived, I could already hear shouting from the car. You can imagine how my stomach dropped. I rushed into the house and went to the kitchen. The whole family was there. Olivia looked extremely upset, and Mom was yelling at everyone. My sister saw me first and announced my presence to everyone. When Mom and Olivia saw me, all hell broke loose. Mom started screaming at me that my stupidity had destroyed our family forever. I didn't understand anything. I asked my sister what was going on. She said I should ask my fiancé, and the fact that Mom called Olivia my fiancé was weird in itself. She always called her Livia, warmly and like family. I turned to Olivia and asked her to explain what was happening. She said we needed to talk in private. By that point, Mom had already stormed out of the kitchen. Olivia and I went to my room. I was on edge and begged her to explain everything to me. She said I needed to calm down and listen, but it was too late for calm. I said I was fine, and asked her to just tell me what happened. She took a breath and said that early in the morning she heard a knock on the door. When she opened it, there was my brother Jake. She was surprised and asked, "What happened?" And he said he needed to talk about something important. She asked what exactly, and he said it would be better to talk in private. She agreed, and they decided to go for a walk. That's when everything went to shit. They'd barely turned the corner of the house when my brother asked how she was feeling after yesterday. She said she was fine, that it was just an emotional outburst and that she'd already tried to call me, but my phone was off. She said she was planning to come back to me after breakfast. Jake looked at her and started saying all kinds of bullshit about how he'd been watching us for years, that I supposedly treated her badly, that she deserved someone who respected her and valued her time. Olivia felt uncomfortable, and she tried to defend me, saying that I sometimes just fool around and like to joke, but that I love her and never wanted to hurt her. My brother interrupted her and declared that she didn't need to pretend anymore, that she needed to raise her standards and be with someone better instead of settling for me. She was shocked and asked, "What the hell is he even talking about?" Then he came out with it, that he'd been in love with her for years. All this time he'd been hoping we'd break up so he could ask her on a date, and that he'd only settled for his wife because Olivia and I got engaged. Olivia was in shock. At first, she thought he was joking and even laughed, told him to stop messing around, and asked if I'd set up this prank. When it became clear he wasn't joking and was serious, she got really scared. And she said that my brother kept looking around the whole time, clearly afraid someone would see him. He told her he hoped she'd think about what he said and give him an answer because he wanted to marry her, and would never have made her wait with a ring as long as I did. He said he'd leave his wife and give Olivia everything she wanted. He even suggested they run away together and start a new life away from all of us. As you'd expect, Olivia freaked out at this and told him off, calling him a monster for wanting to do that to his pregnant wife, and said he disgusted her. She turned around and went back to the house. She just wanted to quickly say goodbye to the family and drive to me. She wasn't planning to tell anyone about what my brother had said, but it was too late. Guess who she saw in the house? Rachel, Jake's wife. She was sobbing in Mom's and sister's arms, and when she saw Olivia, she flew into a rage, literally lunged at her, and my sister had to hold her back. The scene was, to put it mildly, dramatic. Turns out when Rachel woke up that morning, she saw my brother was gone, and after looking for him around the apartment, she found a note on the nightstand. In the note, he wrote that he was sorry, but he couldn't live like this anymore and had to leave because this might be his only chance to be with Olivia before it was too late. And indeed, he'd taken clothes and some other things. The poor woman was in complete shock, trying to text him, but found out he'd blocked her. So she decided to check Mom's house. And as soon as she got there, she saw Olivia and just exploded. There was a lot of screaming and insults. She called Olivia a homewrecker and other unpleasant combinations of words. Mom was monstrously ashamed and snapped at both me and Olivia. Dad tried to calm everyone down, but Mom told him not to interfere. Everyone was trying to reach me, but of course, ironically, I was unavailable. Rachel left, saying she'd never forgive us because now, because of us, she'd be a single mother. By that point, I'd already talked to Mom and was heading home. The family tried calling my brother too, but he wasn't answering anyone. That's how it all happened. I was in such shock that I couldn't even process it. I just stared at Olivia. I think I still haven't fully grasped it all. Olivia said she tried to explain that this was the first time she'd heard anything like this from Jake and she didn't know anything. I know for sure that's true. I can't believe he'd been carrying this around for so many years. I was disappointed and angry at my brother, but I was even more angry at Mom and sister for trying to make Olivia out to be the guilty one. Okay, I can understand my sister-in-law losing it and blaming her, but how can everyone pile on someone who did nothing wrong and who already felt terrible about the whole situation? I apologized to Olivia for everything she had to hear and for being so late. Then I told her to go wait for me in the car while I talked to Mom and sister. While she waited, I tried to talk to them. Mom was still absolutely unhinged and said that all of this could have been avoided if I'd chosen my words better and not joked about canceling the wedding. How stupid is that? Anyone with a brain would understand it was a joke, and even if I shouldn't have said it, how can you not blame my brother? Because no matter what I said, he's the one who destroyed the family with his confession. I told Mom she needed to apologize to Olivia because she wasn't at fault for anything and deserved respect. This only made Mom angrier, and she said she'd never say a kind word to Olivia for seducing her son and breaking up the family. I couldn't believe my ears and demanded she take her words back. My sister said that my brother wouldn't have done all this for no reason, that Olivia must have been hinting to him that she was unhappy with me. Otherwise, why would he decide to leave his wife? Mom declared that Olivia and I had destroyed the family and robbed her of the chance to be a grandmother, because my sister-in-law said she'd never allow anyone from our family near her and the future baby. I tried again to explain to them the illogic of their reasoning, but they told me to leave and never set foot in that house again. I was furious at their stupidity and decided to leave. Olivia and I went home. We're both still very upset and don't know what to do. I keep replaying everything Mom and sister said in my head and don't know what to believe anymore. I just hope Mom and sister will come to their senses and understand that they're blaming the only innocent person in this whole story. I tried to contact them, but Dad said none of them want to talk to me or Olivia anymore. Update 1. I want to say I'm very grateful to everyone who supported me and thinks I did nothing wrong that evening at dinner. Some also asked why Olivia reacted like that to my joke. I didn't want to get into this because it's pretty personal, but I asked Olivia if she was okay with this being on the internet, and she agreed. And yes, she forgave me for that joke. I told her I know I acted like an asshole and will never say that again. Our relationship is still strong, and I know we'll get through this difficult time together. So here's the thing. Even though Olivia and I had discussed that we'd be engaged for a while longer and focus on more important goals, like buying a house before the wedding, she'd actually started feeling a bit insecure. Apparently, a couple months ago, she overheard her coworkers gossiping about her and her eternal engagement, and it really hurt her. She tried to be reasonable and didn't tell me because she knew I'd immediately suggest we get married right away. And in her head was the understanding that waiting was the financially right decision. She completely trusted our relationship, but was still worried inside. I guess I just picked a terrible time to joke. She was already a bit tense after my dad's joke about the eternal engagement, but held it together. And when I added to it, that was the last straw. She felt humiliated and hurt, and it all brought her back to that day when she heard her coworkers gossiping. I had no idea about any of this. Honestly, I feel like not the best partner for not noticing she was struggling. We talked and decided we'd have a small ceremony within the next 6 months so she won't have any more anxiety about it. For the last 2 years, we'd been dreaming about a beautiful beach wedding after buying a house, but I think right now it's more important to just have the ceremony. After everything happening in the family, planning a wedding sounds exhausting, but as long as she's by my side, I can handle it. And for those asking why she stayed at my mom's instead of going to our apartment and sending me to my parents, guys, my family and I have known this girl practically her whole life. She's spent countless hours in that house, and my childhood room is almost like her own. She loves my family. Honestly, if anyone had told me before that my own mom and sister would turn against her and be so cruel to her, I never would have believed it. This whole situation is monstrously disappointing and hits at everything I believed in. I'm worried about the relationship. The family isn't talking to me, and I'm still trying to process what my brother did. As for my brother, he hasn't contacted Olivia once since then. He's avoiding my calls, too. I don't know where he is. I tried to talk about him with the family, but nobody wanted to discuss it. Dad is trying to stay neutral, but doesn't want to upset Mom, who according to him is hysterical at the thought that she might not see her first grandchild. Dad also said they tried to contact my sister-in-law, but she made it clear she doesn't want to talk to any of them. I never would have guessed my brother had feelings for Olivia. He's 4 years older than me. The three of us played together since childhood, and like I said, Olivia and I were close literally our whole lives, though we only started dating in my senior year of high school. My brother always had plenty of girlfriends, both serious relationships and just casual flings. If he'd wanted to, he could have asked her out before me, but he didn't. I should mention that Olivia and I actually broke up for almost a year during our long-distance relationship. He knew about this, and still never once tried to hit on her, not even close. So I don't understand at all how he could suddenly pull something like this. I'm monstrously ashamed of how he treated Rachel. Olivia and I both tried to contact her and explain our side, but she categorically refused to talk. After several days of trying, we decided to respect her choice and not bother her anymore. I really don't know what to do next. I'm still sure my fiancée deserves an apology from my family for everything she had to hear, and I'll definitely make sure she gets one. But for now, we both decided it's better to let everyone cool off a bit before getting into conflict again. Update 2. Hey everyone. Sorry for the very late update, but honestly, the family is a complete nightmare, and I just didn't have the mental strength to update the post again. Now I'll tell you what happened in this zoo that's called my life. I can't believe I'm writing this, but my brother went back to his wife. It's been several weeks since all this started. And as it turns out, yesterday he showed up at home begging my sister-in-law to give him a second chance. He said he wasn't thinking straight and that it was all Olivia's fault. He had the audacity to say she'd been giving him signals for years. And that evening, it just hit him in the head and he made a decision without thinking. I don't understand how anyone could believe such ridiculous lies, but apparently, my sister-in-law believed it. She decided to forgive him. But that's not even the craziest part. The real reason I'm writing this update is my sister's reaction. Apparently, my sister-in-law doesn't want to be part of our family anymore and wants my brother to move to another state and raise the child away from all of us. My brother tried to convince her to change her mind, and she agreed, but with a condition. She said she never wants to see me or my fiancé again, and that mom, dad, and sister can only be part of their child's life if they completely cut me and Olivia out of the family forever. In her opinion, that's fair. She doesn't want to see those who caused her so much pain. My brother passed all this on to the family, and what really kills me is they chose him and the future grandchild over me. Mom and sister won't even talk to me. Dad came to my house to deliver the news. I tried to defend Olivia and myself, but Dad told me to leave it alone and not make the situation worse. My disappointment is impossible to describe in words. This happened a couple days after the previous update. A couple more weeks have passed since then. Olivia and I are going through a difficult period. Despite all my attempts to convince her she's not at fault for anything, she still feels bad thinking. It's because of her that I got cut off from my family. Honestly, I don't give a damn about them now. I'm more angry that they're such cowards and proudly chose the most disgusting position. I'm trying to let it all go, but I can't. I caught myself starting to think about how to get back at them all, despite Olivia asking me to forget about it. We'll see. Maybe I'll think of something. After all, at least my brother should learn a lesson. Update 3. I've got an interesting continuation for you. As I wrote, Olivia and I were furious about how my family decided to handle this whole situation. Obviously, my brother only went back to his wife because he realized Olivia would never even think of being with him, and he had nowhere else to go. Of course, we don't blame my sister-in-law. The thought of having to be a single mother is scary in itself, but we also understand that the whole situation is absolutely unfair to her. And so, in the midst of all this family hell, Olivia and I came up with a bold plan to expose my brother and show everyone his true nature. The plan was risky, but we decided it was worth it. I had no doubt my brother was a rotten person who wouldn't hesitate to leave his pregnant wife for his own brother's fiancée. Theoretically, he could have realized his mistake and changed, but if he really felt remorse and became better, he would have proven it. The plan was this. Olivia was supposed to pretend she was interested in him, lure him into a trap, and show everyone who he really is. The risk was that my brother might see through the plan and lie to his wife and everyone else that Olivia provoked him. But considering no one was on our side anyway, we had nothing to lose. We were worried, but Olivia was determined. She was supposed to come to him at work during lunch, say she'd made a mistake, take him to a restaurant, talk about the future. My job was to convince my sister-in-law to come there too and catch him red-handed. I knew my brother would go for Olivia, but convincing my sister-in-law to at least hear me out was harder. But we had to try. We approached it seriously. Olivia even took off her engagement ring to look convincing. As expected, my brother bought it instantly. Olivia just showed up, put on a few tears and confessions, and he melted. She said she'd been afraid to admit her feelings to herself, but was now ready to drop everything. She showed him her finger without the ring, and his last doubts disappeared. Surprisingly, convincing my sister-in-law was easier than I thought. I think deep down, she always knew the truth. We waited at the restaurant, and sure enough, Olivia walked in with my brother. What happened next was spectacular. My sister-in-law made a public scene, yelled at him, and threw a drink in his face. My brother looked like he was experiencing the worst moment of his life. Probably he was. He went ballistic and started yelling at Olivia. But that's when I stepped in. I'd had enough of how he was, humiliating her. A good punch to the jaw settled the matter. We left together with my sister-in-law and Olivia and drove straight to Mom's. We told her everything. And after a few seconds of disbelief, Mom broke down crying and apologized to both of us for everything she'd said before. My sister did the same, and I'm glad to report I have a family again. Now, my brother has to reap the fruits of his actions. We made it clear to him and my sister-in-law that he no longer has a place in our family. But she and their future child are always welcome. My sister-in-law is a wonderful woman, and she deserves someone who will love and appreciate her. I'm sure she'll find that. Olivia and I promised we'd be there for her and my future nephew or niece. We'll help and do everything so she never feels alone. She's still shocked, honestly. We're all shocked, but I'm sure it'll get better with time.